Hi, I'm Ray Correia, and this is the Game Maker's Notebook podcast. Today, I got to interview Nhi Do, the voice of Watcher and Blue in my game of the year from last year, 1000xRESIST. I know I say this a lot, but I really don't want to spoil this interview. If you can, before you watch this, go back and watch my interview with Remy and Pinky, the narrative designer and creative director, and then come back and watch this. We unpack the game a little bit more, talk about Nhi's theater background, her musical background, and how she ended up in her first game ever with 1000xRESIST. Please enjoy.
Tell me, Watcher, is there a feeling worth getting incinerated over?
Love your mother and trust in her teachings. Do your duties and carry out your function for a future far from sin or incineration. We're all just flowers in a garden of her making. Soon we'll grow beautiful enough to be worth taking. The All-Mother, she shines so bright, but Mother's glow is not as warm as it had seemed to be, and it feels very far from me, and it feels very far from me.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm so excited to finally talk to you about 1000xRESIST. It was my game of the year last year. I'm kind of obsessed. Sorry to everyone listening. I'm definitely going to be a little bit of a fangirl today. So sorry taking you along for the ride. So first question, the one I love to ask people first, how did you get here? What is your background?
Yes. So I'm a bit of a nerd, and I watched a couple of videos already that you interviewed.
No.
I know you talk about theater kids, and I also am a theater kid.
I know.
So I started out in theater, like, school theater, like Artful Dodger and Oliver Twist and little things like that.
And
and
Oliver Twist?
Yeah, but it's like a super abridged children's version. So it's like not the story at all.
It's a very dark story.
It is. So, I mean, I did those, and English is my second language.
Okay.
So I didn't actually speak English in a very comprehensive, fluent way until like about 8 or 9.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So when I did theater, it was amazing. I felt like people understood me for the first time, and there wasn't like the pressure of being wrong.
Yeah.
Because I'm not wrong. The character got it wrong, not me. You know what I mean? And also, like, there's a script, so I was able to practice the words over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sometimes, when you speak another language, the time that you receive the information and process and try to respond, so there's always like the pressure, like, I'm calculating, they're staring at me, I'm doing something wrong. So that's how I got started. And then obviously musical theater. And actually, it's so funny. I had a teacher, and he was the one who was doing musical theater, and he was like the music teacher.
Ooh.
And he singled me out because I was so shy. I was like painfully shy.
I don't believe that at all.
I was like, if they called on me, they were like, something simple like, what's 2 + 2, as an example. I would not. They're like, okay, Nhi. And I go, turn beet red, and just be like, I want to die.
I wish I had the camera. Like, I know if you're listening, on your face as you're doing this, because your facial expressions are so good right now.
So he kind of like took me aside, and he was like, you better audition. And I was so scared of upsetting my teacher, right?
Peer pressure,
you're like 12,
peer
you're 11, 12. You're like, okay, I don't want to disappoint. And so I ended up doing the musical, and it was so much fun. And it's called Hotel Hollywood. And as an adult,
Hollywood.
I realized he probably made it up.
You mean like he wrote it?
He wrote it. Like so what he did was he kind of like a jukebox musical where he grabbed like all these songs, like little snippets from like well-known musicals and like combined them all.
Oh.
I know, because I was like, this is the best musical. It has all the hits. But as an adult, I realized he probably just made it up for us.
That's okay. That's a level of dedication, though. That's pretty sweet.
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, yeah, and he played the piano. And so, you know, obviously he was just, my image of him is just like, just jumping on the keyboards and jamming it out. And yeah, and I think that was kind of what cinched it. And
you were hooked.
Hooked.
You did this jukebox musical and you were like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Done.
So from there, as a kid, did you take professional acting lessons, or did you just kind of keep doing theater? Like, what was that trajectory like for you?
Yeah, so I did like obviously theater in school, and then there would always be like the extracurricular theater class. I did improv. So I was in a competitive improv group.
Competitive? What's competitive improv? Isn't what is that?
I know it sounds so intense.
It sounds very intense.
It is. Well, there's teams, and they have different categories, and like they have like formed games. It's called the Canadian Improv Games. Yeah.
Why don't we never get anything cool here?
CIG. Look it up.
For real. Oh, there's
I
didn't even see these when I walked in.
Boom.
Competitive improv.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that was just incredible to kind of try something completely different. And so it's kind of like sketch comedy.
Yeah.
And in a short amount of time. And in the competition, they grab, you know, audiences' recommendations, and you have to like do the scene in 30 seconds.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do you like improv?
I love improv. It's scary, but I love it.
Do you like it? Which do you prefer, improv or like having like that script structure in front of you? Like, which feels more natural to you?
Can I be greedy and want both?
Yes, you can. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
I think like that's why for voiceover, it can be really freeing, like in animation, because you can have the scripted words and then they'll just be like, and now improv, or like, okay, well, we have a new character. Just go for it. Like, what do you think? Like, just hit me.
Yeah.
And I think that is incredible because sometimes magic happens. Like even in film and television, right? You know, when you watch your favorite movie and you're like, I love that scene. It's like, that wasn't written. That just happened.
Yeah. Absolutely. One of your, I have to talk about this. I mentioned this when we sat down. You were in the Canadian premiere of Heathers the musical.
Yes, I was.
How did you get there?
Oh my gosh.
What was that
I mean,
like?
I got to play Heather Duke.
Yes.
Who is, you know, Shannon Doherty. It's like the best Heather. And it was just like, you know, you did theater. So at that point in Vancouver, I was doing film and television, but then also theater as well. And so I auditioned and got the part, and I just had the ultimate blast.
With singing, did you do any did you train for that, or is that something that just sort of like came naturally to you?
I used to be in a choir, and again, competitive. It sounds really like so much
competition.
competition.
Were you in a competitive choir?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Not like show choir, not Glee. This is very different.
Yeah.
So this was more like more traditional pieces, but then we throw in like a jazzy piece.
Yeah.
But like we didn't do the really cool modern songs like Glee.
Some of those arrangements on Glee I'm not a fan of, but this is not where I'm going to air that dirty laundry. So
that's another podcast.
That is another podcast. Yeah. So you grew up acting, competitive improv, competitive choir.
I know it sounds like I'm so competitive.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. But you had a very long, kind of extensive training background, right? You grew up with it. Did you play games when you were younger? Were you a gamer? I hate that word. We need to find another word for that, just because I feel like saying you're a gamer doesn't encapsulate the whole experience of sitting down and playing something. And like, we're not like sitting down and playing Call of Duty. It's like I'm playing a story, like 1000xRESIST. So were you a gamer?
Well, I mean, so this is a really funny story. So
I love this.
I grew up with Nintendo. Like the original Nintendo. So I played like the Muppets games. Do you remember that Muppet game? The carnival one?
Yes.
I loved it. It was so much fun.
Oh my God. Bring back the Muppets games.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a Muppets game in a long time.
Like the space, the Kermit canoeing in the river.
Yes. I love, oh my God. It's been so long since I thought about that game. This is going to derail this whole conversation.
Okay,
Anyway,
you're right,
Muppets game,
yes.
Muppets game.
Muppets game, Super Mario, like very original Nintendo, Duck Hunt, all that. I was not very good, but I had a blast. It was fun. I loved it. And afterwards, I remember I didn't have a console after that. So I'd go to my friend's house and we would play. Like, I remember the next big game that I was obsessed with was like the N64 GoldenEye.
Yes.
I sucked, but it was so much fun.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I guess I like took a big break and I didn't play until the pandemic.
Yep.
My husband owns a PS2 and he was like, let's just pull this out. He's like, I have some games. Let's play. And so he loves playing RE4. So we were playing Resident Evil 4 and my experience with gaming was the original Nintendo. So there's no joystick. It's just the D-pad.
Yeah.
And A and B. And so me trying to play with a joystick, it was ridiculous. And you have to shoot zombies.
Yeah.
So it's like, shoot, point up, I'd point to the sky. Point down, I point to the ground. And I'm panicking.
Yep.
I scream at the screen. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to come and get me. And so he decided maybe a different game.
A different game.
Maybe not a zombie apocalypse game.
So what did he make you play next?
Prince of Persia.
That's also a pretty intense game, though.
It was, but I liked it. It was a good balance because I do like puzzle games. Mm-hmm. And so it was my first game I ever completed.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So it really got me excited. And also in the pandemic where all feeling of dread and, like I feel lost. Yeah. I felt like I accomplished something. So video games made me feel... It was like my solace. I was like, okay, I have a goal and I'm going to do this submission, and I'm going to like do the side quest and do, and it was just, it made me feel like I was doing something productive with my life.
Yeah. Like I feel the same way. I think I finished more games during the pandemic than I have in my entire existence, just because one, we had the time, we were all home, but also that feeling of like, I went somewhere.
Yes. I did something, I experienced something new. I went somewhere different. And so, so I'm like kind of behind in gaming, but like, and then also I found out that the laptop I bought was a gaming laptop. And my sister was like, you can just play any game right on Steam. I was like, wait, what?
Yes.
And Steam opened a whole new world to me. Yes. Yeah. So Tomb Raider games. Like right now I'm playing Lorelei and the Laser Eyes.
Oh my gosh. God. So many.
Good puzzle games.
Amazing. I love that game so much. I feel like the last couple of years have been a renaissance of smaller games from really interesting creator backgrounds, which is where 1000xRESIST come in. I have interviewed Remy and Pinky, and we've talked about how, they're a group of performers that pivoted during the pandemic. So where did you come in? I want the full, like, detail, minutia story of how you became Watcher, how you got Watcher.
It was, so I knew one of the writers, Connor, from theater.
Okay.
So we did like a play reading, which is where you workshop a brand new play that hasn't been produced yet. And so as actors, you still perform it, but you give feedback and notes, and it's super collaborative. So Connor and I did that for like years and years before. And then I get an email out of nowhere. And he's like, hey, you remember we did that play reading together? Well, in the pivot of all pivots, I'm helping write a video game now. And do you want to read for a character? And so I got this like big package. And he was like, oh, like read for like, it was like something crazy, like 7 characters.
Oh, wow.
And and that's insane, right? Because you're like, whoa. But he said pick some. Because he's like, we really don't know the alchemy of voices yet. And I think, so it was kind of cool that it was kind of given to me, like, what do you want to read? Yeah. What like resonates with you? He just said, make sure that you read for knower or a healer. That was, I guess, that was something that was put forward.
Okay.
Read for knower or healer. And as we know, ended up being Watcher.
Yeah.
So I read for
the big one.
Yeah, which like at that point I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because they didn't say, with games, you never get any information. So
no, it's very restrictive. I'm actually surprised to hear that from an indie studio, because I know with like AAA, everything kind of gets scrubbed and you hand this like sterile packet to the actor. And I know that's because we don't want the actor to get a preconceived notion of what they're doing or something like that. But I've never heard of it done for indie, so I'm a little.
Well, we didn't get
Interesting.
like the full like scene. It would be like maybe a scene and then call outs and then so they kind of give a little breakdown like this person is like this or this person this is their function or this is what their interests are like. But it was only like a couple lines.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's not a lot of info to go on.
No, and they did kind of write a little bit about the tone, saying that they want more naturalistic, realistic. Because, when you think video games, sometimes you think like big, bombastic, full voices, right? And they just were like, no, very naturalistic.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was amazing feedback. And the scene for Watcher, the audition scene for Watcher, because it was one scene and a bunch of call outs.
Yeah, what was the scene?
The scene was when she's visiting Zhao in the hospital bed. I know.
What an audition side.
I know.
What?
And it's like they don't tell you about, the clones, but you're talking about it, about like who gets chosen and who doesn't.
Yeah.
And it was just, you're
That's
like.
heavy. That's like heavy for an audition side, especially when you don't have the context of the full. Oh my God. Okay, sorry.
But it just, to me, it was like, it made sense. I don't know. Like, I just was like, oh, she's like, I felt like Watcher was so stuck. Like she really wants to help this person, but has no idea how. And so I was like, okay, I understand that. Yeah. And then so I sent it in and it took a while. It was so funny because I remember the first meeting I had, there was a heat dome in Vancouver. So it was like the hottest it had ever been.
Oh,
and so we don't really have air conditioning in apartments. It's because we just don't really need it. So it was so hot and I had a Zoom meeting. So I went to a coffee shop just to make sure there was AC. So they wouldn't see me just like, hey guys, just fully sweating.
Did you do the read in the coffee shop?
No, I sent a tape for the read.
Okay,
but then
okay.
when they wanted to offer me a role, they didn't say what role. They just wanted to meet with me and have a chat and explain the project to make sure I was interested.
Okay.
Because something that Remy was saying from day one is that our process is very unusual.
Yes.
Like we come from theater, so it's not going to be like you just go in and record everything and then leave. He's like, we're kind of writing the game as we go.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. And also, so he was like, he wanted it to be a super collaborative project and that it would probably take a long time because it's such an indie team. And I was like, this sounds amazing.
So when you were sitting there, they went to offer you the role, did they tell you it's someone did you end up reading for Watcher in your audition sides or no?
Yes, I did.
You did.
I did. Yeah.
So what did they tell you? Were they like, you are the linchpin of the whole,
well,
you are the disruptor. It's you.
They were like, you are going to be Watcher. She's the lead character. You're the character that the players will be playing. And I'm like, the playable character. And because I had just started playing video games a lot, I was like, I knew the pressure.
Yeah.
And like, I knew that, because for me, obviously with my acting background, like cutscenes, great. That's just like a scene.
Yeah.
But the way that, playable characters are, the way that they interact with objects, it's different because every permutation of a player. Are you going to go to that book first? Are you going to go to the table?
Yeah.
Where are you going to go? And so I didn't want it to sound all the same. And so just trying to work with Remy about like the permutation, like if you want to get mathematical, the permutations of like, of the scenarios. What order? You don't want it to sound too one way. You want but not be so engaging that the audience member, it's too much for their ears, right? Where it's like, oh my God, I just want to look at the book. I don't need you to be like, a book, So
yeah. And this is your first gaming role too.
Yes.
How did that feel? Were you like, oh, I'm a game VO now?
I mean, it's like weird to even say now. It's a dream come true.
Yeah.
And I think, especially because I started playing video games, I was like, wow, these are like films, but like interactive films. Like these are pieces of art. Like I remember I played like the new Jedi game at that time with Cameron Monaghan. And I was just like bawling.
It's a good one.
And I was like, oh my God. Like the story, it's so beautiful and it can be so enveloping and it's with the voice. So I knew there was a lot of pressure. Yeah. So I think that was more like, I'm like, yay, but also, oh my God, what am I doing?
Well, Watcher has, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So you mentioned earlier that their direction for the whole game was they wanted everyone to sound natural. They didn't want to have these like overactive video game voices.
Mhm.
There is like a stillness, and like for someone who played the game, part of what I really enjoyed about playing the game is all of you have, it's gonna sound so weird, like soothing voices.
Ooh,
Almost.
I'll take it.
Like I was really excited because 1000 Times Resist was billed to me as like, you play a game, you're a bunch of women. That's all I'm going to tell you. And I was like, yes. Don't laugh at me.
Off-camera laughter?
Off-camera laughter from our producer. No, and I was like, you're just a bunch of women. And I was like, this sounds amazing. And then I was playing it. And everyone has these like, the vocal tones are very natural. Everyone is like speaking very, very gently. But you have some of these characters that have these really strong and even a little sinister undertones, but they're all coming through with this gentle kind of voice. And it's the juxtaposition from a player's perspective was really nice. I loved playing the game because all of you sounded so soothing. So I would play and I would just be like, no bad things are happening, but everyone sounds so great in this game. I'm just like, I'm in the all women city with all the women just hanging out. It's fine. Something bad's happening with all the women. It's fine. So when you were finding Watcher, it's Watcher, but also Blue. So I want to talk about Watcher first, like how you found her, because she is so distinct despite being a clone.
I know, isn't that crazy? That was the thing I asked Remy. I was like, okay, so obviously what I did in the audition doesn't have to be the final product, like, because I need to know more information. And so he was going to send me the script, and then he thought, you know what? It's going to be easier if you just play it. So I play tested each chapter before I recorded it.
That's a genius idea.
Isn't that so cool? So I really got to feel from an audience perspective what was going on. And also, like, can you imagine trying to explain the game? Like
I had trouble just now. Like I keep forgetting. It's like, oh, and there's aliens. Oh, and I'm forgetting like 10 things. It's such a multi-layered experience.
Exactly. And so he was like, it's probably better if you play it and experience it. But then also, he's being so smart. He was like, and then also give me feedback. Here's the feedback form.
Perfect.
Right? So it's like I was play testing, like QCing, as well as from an actor perspective, finding my character. And honestly, like, especially for my character, because you are playing as Watcher, so experiencing it as Watcher, I think helped me find moments of her. And, you know, she's just trying to do her best.
Yeah.
She takes things so literally. Like, I adore her. I want to be like, no, honey, that's okay. You know, do you remember the books Amelia Bedelia?
Another thing that I literally haven't thought about in like a bajillion years.
I am just pulling them out for you.
Yes, I have. Those were kind of scary books, actually.
I mean, yeah. Actually, looking back, it's like she was too literal.
Yeah, if she does anything you do, what if you're like, slay queen? What is she gonna do?
She's like, I'm gonna find a queen and slay it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, but no, I see exactly what you mean when you talk about her and Watcher.
Yeah, it's that innocence and that like earnest.
Yeah,
like that earnestness of trying to do the right thing or to do well and failure.
I'm really into like modern character tropes right now. And something that comes to mind with 1000 Times Resist a lot is the girl failure trope.
Yes.
And I definitely see like Iris to me is like the ultimate girl failure. Because but I see in all of her, like, you know, Watcher, and like everyone is trying to do what they think is right. But then obviously like there is a failure point for everyone. When kind of with that in mind, when you were putting Watcher together, I guess you got to play the game before you recorded her. So you got to essentially like feel her out, like see what exactly we would be doing, which is kind of a rarity if you're not dubbing a game. Like so many games, it's like either you're mocapping it, so you don't see it until you've already physically done it, or you've, you know, put your voice into it. You're looking at a spreadsheet and you're not looking at like when you're
came later.
Yeah. Oh yes, the spreadsheet of death, the long list of barks and all of that stuff. So you have this new character that you get to play first before you be her, and she's an original character with sort of no really preconceived notion of who she is. So, like, did you do any research for this? Like, where did you look when you were, again, trying to find that earnestness? Like, what were your inspiration points? And when you felt like you were maybe straying away from her? How did you call her back?
These are very good questions.
I love talking to actors. I'm so freaking fascinated.
I mean, I am naturally a researcher, but I think with Watcher,
you're a knower.
I am. Like, I'm kind of a knower. It's true, but not that dark.
No.
A nicer knower.
Yes.
But like with Watcher, it just, playing the game, it made sense. You know, and I think what really pulled me in was the Iris and Zhao story.
Oh my God, so devastating.
It is devastating. And I think, like, you know, obviously me being a Vietnamese Canadian immigrant, I was also like second generation. And so I was on both sides. I know what it was like to be Zhao in the beginning and not like find that connection. And then I also know what it's like to be Iris, where I was like, well, I don't want to deal with this bullshit and racism and weirdness from people. I just want them to accept me. Yeah. So if it means assimilating, I'll do it. And I did. And so I think that's why it hits people so hard, because they've seen both sides. And there's no, you know, nothing good comes of either. We saw what happened to Zhao. I know. I was like crying in the booth. I was like, oh my God, like crying. Remy has all these videos of me playtesting because he recorded them for reactions. And so
rude.
I'm crying in them where I'm going, ooh. Or like,
that's wow. Good job, Remy.
They're out there.
We just released a supercut of like you just like reacting, crying
crying
to everything.
So I think it was, for me, even though Watcher may not speak with her heart as much as Zhao, she leads with her heart. And I think that was always the entry point for her.
Yeah. So Watcher, like all the other clones, they are clones of Iris. So when you were kind of building Watcher and finding her, what did you take from Iris? Like, how did you look at her? Like, how did you find that relationship? Because I definitely sense the nuance in each clone, the oh my God, I almost was like the Power Rangers, because they're the color
the
and
colors,
another deep cut. But each one of them, you know, has a specific function, but they're pulling from a very specific thread of Iris's personality and what she kind of like, you know, held on to. So for Watcher, what is that? What is that relationship like with Iris?
It's obedience. Yeah. Like, I think that was the big thing. It's like, because Iris never got love from her mother. It was something that she was always searching for. Yeah. And so how she reacted was obviously doing the same to Zhao. And so Watcher that's their connection. She is always looking for acceptance. Yeah. And, you know, never could. That's why that scene where they're like playing hide and seek with the youngest, and I'm like, you bastard.
This is such a painful game.
It is. But then it's like, I think we've all been in situations. I think that's why it hits us so hard, because we're like, oh my God, like I've been the bully, or I've been on the receiving end, or, you know, and there's so much pressure when you don't fit in, and there's like a big group. And that's the thing. It's like the clones. Yeah. Right. And the All-Mother. It's like there's this whole institution. Yeah. So if you follow along, you have to follow along, and you'll be loved and accepted. And if you don't, what happens? Yeah. And the thing was that Watcher was always trying, you know, even her earliest form, like the Watcher function. But there's something off. They can't, because their function is already removed. Yeah. So they've never really been in. But now they're made fun of not being in, but that's kind of their job to not be in. So they're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah. When you go to that place, when you are acting and you're kind of putting yourself in that dark place, like, how do you get there? How do you get out?
Training. Good training. I mean, yeah. So my post-secondary education, I went to like a private performing arts school in Vancouver, and it was conservatory style. So then you would spend like, I have a voice teacher, I have a Meisner teacher, I have a scene set, you know, a Meisner.
What's that?
Meisner is a technique, and it teaches you subtext through repetition, like true meaning. So if you were to be like, and it has to be all based off of organic feelings. So I might be like, I love your jacket. And you'd be like, I love your jacket. It's like, I love your jacket. And then it keeps going, and then the meaning changes. even though the words stay the same. So what it is, it's you're opening up like your true intentions, like your impulses.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
Some people love it. Some people hate it. It is contentious. I had someone almost throw a chair at me in the Meisner class because it was getting so intense. And you're just repeating like basic statements because it has to be a fact.
Okay.
Like, you're making me upset, or you looked at me weird, or you know what I mean? Like, right? So yeah, it can get really intense because you can feel the subtext.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to look this up and look into this after this podcast because that sounds cool.
It is cool. It is great, but it's not for everyone. And
no,
I think that's
intense.
It is intense, and I think that's why acting's so amazing because there's no formula.
Yeah,
and everyone has their own way in. Even for me, even though I know me, every character I play, I have to find an entry point, and that entry point is so different for every character.
Yeah,
I have to find it. So for Watcher in particular, going into that place of darkness, it was trusting myself, making sure I was safe.
Yeah.
And a big part of my training in conservatory was getting out. You know, like just safely getting out, just being able to. I was so weak.
That was a good one. That was a really good one. So how, like, I hate to like dig into that more, but how do you get out? Is it just like do you train yourself to just kind of turn it off? Is it like a compartmentalization thing, or is it just like?
For me, it is compartmentalization. Because I think especially if you're in a character for a long time, you're always going to carry it a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. Especially like in film and television, like you're filming for long days, you're kind of carrying a residual around. So it's not harder to jump back into. But with something like Watcher, where we were recording, this chapter for this chunk, you'd go in and do it. And then I'd have to kind of like what I call like set it and forget it. It's like, there it is. It's over there. It's baking. It's doing a good job. And now it's done. And I have to let it go.
Yeah.
It's just, it is, you're right. It's compartmentalization. It's trying to focus on, it's like, how am I like Watcher and how am I not like Watcher? After, so when we're done with that, it's like, I'm not Watcher now. I'm Nhi, and this is our differences.
How are you like Watcher? What parts of you are in Watcher?
Oh, I am so naive. Like, if you lie to me, I'll be like,
what?
Really? Oh, totally. Like, people joke with me all the time and like, tease me. And I'm like, okay. Like, I just fall for stuff. So here in Vegas, I'm so scared.
You'll be fine. No. You're with us. You're gonna be good.
There's so many tricks here.
We won't let the tricksters get you. Speaking of entry points and compartmentalization, you actually play two characters, your Watcher and your Blue, who have similar traits but are very different. So when you were recording and when you were going through the script, at what point did you know that you'd be playing this other version of yourself? And then how did you make her so different?
So Remy and Pinky kept it from me.
Oh, rude. Okay.
They didn't want me to know that it would be splitting. And so they kind of kept it secret until I played the chapter.
Okay. Oh, so wait, did you record the game in order?
Yeah. Oh, I know.
That's also rare.
That's
in
also
games.
rare. It's rare in anything. Filming in order, recording in order. Like, that's never happened. So it was amazing because I got to build the character. Like, I was learning the story as Watcher was learning the story. So we were in real time. Yeah. Which was incredible.
That's very method.
It was. We did go back and re-record, like pickups and re-record certain sections after, like once I really nailed Blue and we kind of came to the end of the game, we kind of came back and polished some stuff. So chapter 1 is mostly my first recording, and then a little bit
after Blue.
After Blue. And so, I don't know, go back and see if you can hear a difference.
That's crazy. I do. Like, you definitely feel like you are different versions of the same way where everyone's like kind of like a clone of Iris. You can definitely feel that difference. So when you were getting into Blue, because Blue kind of has a little bit more of a like kind of melancholy at the beginning and kind of has to get like cajoled into action. Like how did you find her?
Well, we had a whole session where we were just talking and kind of workshopping her voice and her style. Yeah. So that was like just a whole session dedicated to that. And things that we talked about was like Blue had a completely different upbringing, right? So she lived in a different area. Things were harder. There was a separation already. And so she had to be tougher. It was almost like she was like in the streets, with the other shells. While Watcher has always lived this place of privilege.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She had a function. Even though she had her own struggles within that group, she was put on a pedestal.
Yeah.
So so I would say her upbringing was very sheltered, like literally in a bunker.
Sheltered.
Sheltered.
We did it.
So that was a big thing. And also for Watcher, she's so earnest and she's genuinely trying and unable to connect. Well, I feel like Blue is the opposite. Like Blue gets it.
Yeah.
Blue really understands. And that's why she pulls back.
Yeah.
Because she knows. And she's way more mistrustful.
Yeah.
Watcher is actually too trusting. Blue is mistrustful. So I think those were some key points that separated them. But it was mainly it was the upbringing. Like, where is Blue from?
Yeah.
And also what happened to Blue?
Yeah.
You know, like Blue lost her friend and had seen people disappearing. So it just changes who you are. You harden. I mean, Bartender was her one friend and she kept, she's kind of messing up. She's using, like, when you don't function in life.
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm saying function again.
That's okay.
Yeah, you don't function in life and you're like, what is going on? It's like that was Blue. It's like she is just not able to screw her head on straight because she to her, it was like, what is this all for?
Yeah. Yep.
Like she didn't even give herself Blue until Melody was like, give yourself a name. Because to her, she was like, what's the point?
Yeah. So it sounds like you got to collaborate really closely with like the writing team on building Blue and on building these characters.
Yeah. I mean, like the writing was there.
Okay.
And it was always a big, I guess, like North Star for everything. It was always came back to the writing, but it was definitely, but like Remy and I in particular worked on the essence of the voice, like certain characteristics. And we wanted it to be, but here's the thing, we didn't want it to be, it was okay that it sounded, they had some similarities because they're clones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So that, but different enough that you were like, oh, this is a person with a completely different background in life.
I would definitely say, as a writer myself, my favorite part of the writing process is when we have our casting and we get to sit down with the actor and like hear what they have to say about what they've read and what they've done. I've only ever been in situations that were recorded out of order, so it's always a little bit chaotic and a little bit weird. But I love how collaborative and very much the theater DNA is baked into this game, including the way it's blocked out. Like I just want to sit here and talk about this game forever. It's so good. So in terms of, we talked about balancing the two versions of your character, in all of the sort of material you've talked about, Watcher, like I'm naive and like Blue is like this. For you, well, how did it feel like to like finish this game when you were like done? Because there's such a huge catharsis at the end. So from an actor's perspective, like what was that like for you?
I cried. I did. I cried like obviously when I let go of Watcher and took over Blue.
Yeah.
I cried. I had to like mourn that. And then as Blue, I cried in our last session. Because it was, like you said, it is such a release. And of course, too, like I don't know what ending people are going to pick.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So that's always like a big mystery as well.
What ending did you pick?
I had the principal ending.
Oh,
yeah.
Why? Please explain.
Well, because I hate Mauve.
Yeah, she sucks.
She was awful. What she did to Watcher, I like really personally was like, who is this person? Like I remember with Remy playing the game and I was like, I don't like her. She's mean. And then Remy thought it'd be really funny if it would. Then like I think it progressed. Like, he like made it a character and like gave her a name and everything. Yeah, because I was like, oh, she's mean. She's not doing anything. Oh, I don't like it. And and it became like this whole piece. It's so funny.
That's so interesting because I feel like that is such a critical part of her progression in that story is like, I'm just in here with this one person and I've decided I fucking hate you. Mm-hmm. I'm just sorry. I swore.
Yeah. And like give you a name and and everything because she's lost her mind, you know? And and having someone like Noah just betray her like that and just like everything changing overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were overall, when you were recording for Archer, recording for Blue, you said you were playing like Resident Evil and you played Prince of Persia. Were there any games that you played or looked at that you were like, to prepare myself to play a game character? Like, did you look at anything or were you just like, I'm just going to go for it?
Well, I was playing I think around that time I was playing the Tomb Raider games.
Oh, which one?
Oh my gosh, I'm going to get this wrong.
Was it the new ones?
The newer ones. Yeah.
The new trilogy.
Yeah, the new trilogy. I played all three of them.
Okay, wow. All right.
And there's something about the voice actor playing Lara Croft. She emoted so much. And when it was those cut scenes, I was just like really diving into
she did a great job
the emotionality of it. And also, like you were saying, like these barks and these interactions, I was like, okay, interesting, this and that and the call outs and stuff. I was like, okay, just trying to get an understanding of not everything has to be big, not everything has to have a story. It could just be fact, and so when we recorded that, I recorded series. So I was like, I'll give you ABCs of these, and then you can choose based on it. I just them sifting through all of the takes. I can't even imagine. It just would have been hours.
How long did you record for Watcher?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah,
that's pretty long.
It was.
Not to be like, for an indie game, but like for a small independent game, that's like a very thorough chunk of time.
Mm-hmm.
Did you, when you were playing the game, knowing that you had kind of I was going to say dived. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm a writer. I know how to talk. You had just dived into games and then you were playing this game. So when you were, Prince of Persia, Resident Evil, and then you get to 1000xRESIST. And again, the way it's blocked is very theatrical. The perspective changes. You have your third person, your first person. Like, how did that, like, what did you think? Like, how did that make you feel where you're like, oh, this is like such a different blocking? Like, did you connect with kind of like the performance blocking right away? What was that like?
I loved it. I just was so taken aback. I'm like, oh, and then it turns into a side scroller. Like, I just was like, this game just doesn't stop. It keeps me guessing.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't nail it down. And I think that's why in the beginning, it was so hard to describe. I mean, it still is. Like, to someone, I'm like, they're like, what is it? I'm like, oh, walking narrative, first person, point and click adventure, but also, it's, I still haven't been able to find the right words, but yeah, I think what struck me was, like you said, the stillness, the quietness of the game, because, at that point I was like, I am obsessed with fighting games. I love it.
Yes.
Like, I was getting really into these fighting games and I'm like, and I'm good. And so this game, there's no combat. It's like a combat of the mind. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
I'm going to start describing it like that.
Yeah. It's so philosophical. Yeah. And I think that's another reason why the voices kind of come off very soothing, because we're saying such heavy, dense things.
Yeah.
It almost lets you take it in more.
Yes.
Right? You accept the words, maybe not really fully understanding, but they marinate in you. You're like, oh, I hear it. Okay.
Yeah. It's very, like, as you just said that, I heard Watcher. And so I just went, oh. I kind of like had a minute. I'm like, yes, take me back there. No, I mean it. Like, there's something, and again, like, not to be like game, there's like one dude in the entire game, and it's the dad.
Yeah.
But something about having this like futuristic, like apocalyptic whiff of Evangelion in there.
Yeah.
All women, like same woman, kind of like with all of this very like somewhat maternal, sisterly, soothing kind of atmosphere to it. It is quite a special experience.
It is. It's so much to take in, because it's like, there's, like you said, like there's the Iris and Ja relationship, and then there's like Iris's family, like her mom and dad. So everything, like what they came from, what they escaped. And then you also have like Watcher's story within like the functions of the sisters. And then you have like the next round with Blue and what's going on with the Capitol and everything. And then, like you're saying, it's all about the sisterhood, and also like how quickly they can turn on each other.
Yeah, it just dissolves.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes you, I don't know, it just won't, it never lets up.
No.
And I think that's the thing too, because you're like, oh, okay, I think I get this game, or okay, I'm understanding this part, and then suddenly you're like, over here. And it never feels too much.
No.
It never feels like gratuitous.
No.
And so that, I don't know how they mastered that, because I think that's what was so compelling to me playing this game.
Yeah.
I felt pretty early on I was in safe hands. You know, as a player, when
And
you
as an
play,
actor.
as an actor too, I'm like, oh, they've really thought about this. And I think that's why it took 2 years to record, because they were writing the game simultaneously.
Yeah.
And there was a break point where there was a pause because they were still nailing out the story.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's not quite there.
Obsessed.
Like that whole chapter with Noah,
Oh, yeah.
like all that philosophical and like talking to the source. It's like, what?
That's a hard chapter too.
It is.
Yeah.
And I remember like they were kind of asking, like, do you think it's too heavy? Do you think it's heady?
Ooh.
And I said, no, you need this. Because I think at this point, you kind of need to lay it all out because you've experienced it all. But now we need to like talk about it
Yeah.
and make decisions. And I love that it's coming from Nora because she is so tough.
Yeah.
So incredible. Yeah. And I think that's another thing too, like, because Watcher is because she's such a, you know, like a person on the outside. She's such a watcher.
She's a watcher.
She's a
Yeah.
watcher that you can really see her like finding her personality based off of how she interacts with each sister. Each sister pulled a different part of her out more.
Yes.
And it's so cool because, you know, like we all have that, right? We all have different faces that we have for different people. And like her and Secretary is just something else. It's sometimes I'm like, God, she's so mean. But then to me, I'm like, that's just echoing Iris and Zhao.
Yeah.
She's doing what the All-Mother did to her little one.
Yeah. It's the subtextual strategically placed echoes in that game. Once I feel like once I got to the end, I was finally able to like see back and be like, oh.
Wait, what ending did you get?
I decided to wipe everyone out.
Oh, damn.
And start over. I was like, no, I'm like, so that was my first ending. And then I was like, actually, no. And then I went back and I think I like strategically removed all like the military and the police people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like the sisters, the fixer and healer and everyone, like they got to live.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the ending where Watcher Blue is standing on the thing and like that like vision of Iris with her first children on the beach. And that was a like shock. Because I remember I made some strategic picks, got one of the bad endings where it ended with them all in like a pile of bodies. And I was like, no. And I backed out. I like clicked out. I'm like, nope.
It let you?
I know that like, because like, I know that I could have saved it. And because I save. I'm one of those.
Yes.
I'm one of those like extremely like controlling gamers. So I'm like, if I know there's yes. I'm like, I have to see all of it. I'm not going to watch YouTube video. I want to do it. But my first organic playthrough, I accidentally got the bodies piling up and I was like, no, X'd out. I'm like, I don't want to see it. I want to do it. And then I went back and I wiped everyone out. And I was like, no, everyone's got to start over.
I know, because I played it a couple of times and I was like, you know what? I was feeling very, very forgiving that day. I was like, the Capitol Red, they're fine. The cops. No,
get rid of
just shooting range. I was like, oh no.
No, but it's so like, that's also one of the, I think, greatest strengths of this game is like you get to this end and then as the player, you're like, you get to make some strategic choices that you haven't really been able to make up until this point. But you have all the information you need.
Yeah.
And those strategic choices are going to have a very, very specific outcome. And it's just like.
And I love how if you try to leave the light on for everyone.
Oh, things still go to shit.
Yeah. They're like, no. Nope.
No.
Load is too heavy to carry.
I think I really feel like that game that particular ending encapsulates so much of like, I don't know, like our world today. It's like we have to be here for each other. Like it's not like we can try to mold it into one thing, but it will always be many things. And we kind of have to be okay with that.
We have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
There's always going to be dissenting voices and that's okay.
And that's okay.
Right. But it's like hard because And I think too, it was an aspect too, was the whole crying disease, you know, obviously, which was like an echo of COVID, but it was such a unique way of allowing people to process that. Yeah. Like, I know I did. I was like, oh my God.
I was like, oh, they cry and then they dehydrate. Yeah. They cry to death. Oh my God.
I know. And it's like, I'm not crying. It's like, oh my God.
Yes. I cried. Even though the game is for for a game, it's like if you can get all the endings like sub 5 hours, if you really sit and you look at everything, it's a very poignant 5 hours. So now that you have done a game, obviously you're an actress, so you're going to be out in the world. So what do you think you're going to carry with you from this experience working on a game into another project that's maybe not a game? Like, what do you think other mediums can learn from games?
That they have incredible stories, and it's where the writing is where it starts. And I feel like sometimes with the pressure of selling a movie or pushing out an episode in television, right? It's like the writing is sometimes like, yeah, that's enough.
Yeah.
And I hope to challenge writers. It's not enough. Push more. Get outside your comfort zone. Like if you were to give a script of 1000xRESIST, you'd be like, this is insane. How can you do this? It's breaking all the rules.
For like a film? Oh yeah. I could imagine looking at that and being like, how do I shoot this?
Yeah, but
This is
also like
crazy.
narratively, I think it breaks a lot of rules too.
It does break a lot of rules.
Or they're like, oh my gosh, this is so dense. All the like, no one's gonna get it. But I think sometimes we're too focused on the capitalism aspect of the selling and mistreating our audience. We're not thinking our audience is smart enough, but they are. And when they get something that they understand and feel is special and unique, they're gonna love it.
Oh yeah, we had this when I talked to Remy and Pia on this podcast. They said that they designed the game, like the actual design of the game, with constraints in mind, and that's like why the big aliens like don't have a head, because they didn't. You would have to design and render like another like face, and the idea to do clones is like, well, you only have to really make one face,
which is so crazy.
But that's brilliant
when you think about it, because to me they all look so different.
They do, but they're
the
same
build,
face.
But the build is the same.
The build is the same. The build is the same. The face is the same. It's just
unreal.
Missing, different pieces, and the fact that with the, you're in this very curated little hub, and the things that you do as watcher when you're kind of moving through those memories, you're not really physically in a place. It's like a clump of things, a clump of things that I think very beautifully represent what memories can kind of feel like. There's disjointed pieces like floating in your brain. So what you're saying right now about how like the capitalism of it all can sometimes ruin a good piece of art, the designing this game within constraints, which was definitely built out of we don't want to overspend on our budget. This is going to take time. This is going to take money. How can we convey the same feeling with something not as complex, but subtle, like the subtext. So good.
And the vignettes. Like,
yes.
When I actually gasped when she goes into the school gym.
Oh,
and all the student bodies are floating. You know exactly, like the feeling is there. It evokes it, and that's all that matters, right? It's like as long as you get that feeling. And I think sometimes these images, humans love like imagery. It's what we remember.
Yes.
And so something so poignant and so unique, so different, right? Because if it was just like a bunch of students like crying, it'd be horrifying and interesting. But we've seen it before.
The subtlety of just like,
it's almost creepier. It's that stillness.
Yes.
Right? And so I think as I'm like saying this, I'm like, wow, good job, team.
I know. I love that just you were in this game and we're like fangirling over it.
Well, because I honestly it's surreal to me. This is my first video game. This is so new.
Yeah.
But the community has just come out and been just incredible, so supportive, and they really understand it.
Yes.
And I think that's what, we were worried a little bit right before the game launch. I was like, are you excited? And everyone was like, well, we really hope people get it.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Because you imagine spending how many years working on it? It makes sense to you.
And then people are like, oh.
And then people are like, oh, I don't get it. You're like, oh no.
I finished the game and immediately got on the Reddit and was like, what are other people talking about and saying? And people kind of talking about their own experience with it and their personal experience, how it resonated with them, and pointing out very specific imagery. Everything is the subtext is so beautifully curated. You don't have to say things the relationship with Iris and Zhao we talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. There's definitely the game doesn't come out and say and Iris abused Zhao and blah, blah, blah. It's just look.
No. Exactly.
Just watch.
Yeah. And it's just and I love it because Zhao's love language is food.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it's around, right? She's always trying to feed her. And then she's like, oh, these smell so gross. Why do you eat that? It's just, I think
food.
that, it's less direct. And I think it allows people to interpret and therefore connect more.
Yeah. I really hope everyone listening played this game already because we've just like completely unpacked it for you. So sorry,
and
oops.
and I also have to admit, like on Reddit, I found out that it was like 1000 times resist is an anagram of sisters. Yeah. I was like, wait, what? I know. I did. Thank you, Reddit. Thank you, fans. I had no idea. I was like, that is so freaking cool. Yeah. Man, I love your face right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yes.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. That's.
Yeah.
I'm going to run out of here after we record this and be like, Remy.
Remy. Oh my God.
Oh my God. No. So again, like my game of the year for last year, really just a beautiful experience. And you are nominated for we were recording this before the DICE Awards in February. Congratulations. Again.
Yes.
Phenomenal
Thank you.
performance.
But also I'm just, again, surreal to be nominated alongside such like voiceover titans in this community. So I'm just like, I'm the new kid on the block. I'm just excited to be here.
It's a great community. Welcome to the community. Speaking of, like, now that you've done one game, what would you like to do next? Like, what would be all the developers listening? What would be your like dream role?
I want to do mocap.
Yeah,
because I come from theater and I'm really physical. I even do stunts in film, so I'm like, oh my gosh,
you do stunts?
Yeah, nothing crazy. But like, yeah, I can like fights and stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Neil Newbon, are you listening? We have another stunt person. Let's go.
So I think something like that, like something where I get to really, because explore the emotional side of a character, but also the physical. Like I would love to learn a skill, like some physical skill, like I don't know, knives or archery or something like, you know what I mean? Spears. I don't know, axes, swords,
all of them.
I'll do it. I'll take it.
So. Is there a genre though? Like, is there like, you're like, okay, you want to fight
Mm-hmm.
and you want to do mocap, but is there like a genre that you're like, this speaks to me and I really want to?
Ooh.
Or are you just
I mean, I love it all, but like horror
okay.
is like super special to me. I don't know. I love getting scared, but I hate getting scared. Do you understand that?
I can't handle jump scares at all.
But do you love it?
No.
Oh.
No, I'm different. I can't. I literally, I was once thrown a surprise party, and when they opened the door and yelled surprise, I punched the person closest to me in the face because I was so startled and uncomfortable.
No. Okay.
The original Resident Evil, the dogs through the window, like ruined me for the rest of my life.
Oh my gosh.
I can't like,
and that's scary.
But that's also like the old Resident Evil with like the weird polygons and all that stuff.
The cubes, yeah.
Yeah, the cubes. And it's like kind of like the lowest level of scary. I can't play Five Nights at Freddy's. I can't play Phasmophobia. I can't play any horror games because I just am too nervous.
But wouldn't it be so fun to like write one or like be
write
in
it
one
and not experience it? Maybe I'll write it, but I will never play it.
Okay, can I tell you a really so speaking of punching, when I do haunted houses, I love
Are you in the haunted house
with
or
the
are you
live actors?
attending the haunted
You're
house?
in the haunted house.
You're not the haunted house actor.
I'm not the actor.
Okay,
I go in.
I want to clarify.
No, for sure.
Okay.
I am so scared. It's real to me.
Yeah.
I know they're actors, logically. I'm an actor. They're just doing their job. I get so scared, but I also that's just like catnip to them. You being like,
yeah,
then
I know,
they're like,
yeah.
oh, excellent. And so
her. Yep.
I'm the target. And then I put my hand up and I'm like, don't come near me, I'll hit you. So, and because I will only go to haunted houses where they can't touch you.
Yeah.
Because if they touch me, I'm touching you. Do you know what I mean? My adrenaline is up so high, and because I went to one haunted house, and it said no touching.
Did they touch you?
Touched me, touched my back. I screamed and ran, and I had my arm linked around my husband. I pulled him to the ground.
Amazing, great.
Ran, and it was horror through history. So we were in ancient Egypt. So I
no mummies, no.
It was a mummy.
Mm-mm.
The mummy touched me.
How dare he?
I was so mad because you're not supposed to.
Did you go back and punch him?
Well, I ran into the wall screaming, and then but then I turned around and missed it. It curved, because it looked all bouldery because it's ancient Egypt, and I hit it, lost a shoe and was just like,
What?
was just like, the mummy touched me.
You tattled.
I totally did. I totally, in the mummy, I kid you not, like T-Rex arms backed up and was like, oh no, a lawsuit. Oh no.
Oops.
Oh, oopsie. All
Oh my
Scooby-Doo
God.
mummy, like.
That's amazing. That would be a fun game right there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's that's a great anecdote. And also I feel like very on brand for you. Even though we've only been talking for an hour, I feel like I know that is you.
It is
who you,
so
who you are.
me. What a freak.
So you're thinking mocap,
Mhm.
horror game, weapons. So like final girl or villain.
Ooh, villain.
You want to play a villain? Okay.
That would be cool.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I'd be like the unsuspecting villain.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe pose as a friend to the final girl. I'll help you. And then suddenly, the mastermind.
I love it.
Yeah.
You all heard that. So get on it. Thank you. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today. Congratulations again. I'm so excited for you. And I'm really excited to see what you do next.
I'm so excited to be here and to finally meet you.
I know. This has been great. This is the best. We're friends forever now.
I love it. More podcasts to come.